Honors, just so it will be clear to our fellow senator judges, as well as the panel of prosecutors, the defense team, and the public in general, yesterday after your election as presiding officer, you delivered your opening statement, portions of which I will either quote or paraphrase as follows. You stated, the Constitution states that conviction can only happen with the concurrence of 2/3 of all members of the Senate. And then you continued, with 24 members of the Senate, a literal interpretation of this means that conviction requires the affirmative vote of at least 16 senator judges. However, you also made it clear that, and I quote, those who disagree have the right to go about it through a legal challenge and sue the Supreme Court by virtue of its power of judicial review, render a different ruling on this question, the impeachment court shall faithfully abide by that ruling, unquote. My point of inquiry, Mr. President, Mr. Presiding Officer, is this portion of your opening statement a matter of legal opinion on your part as presiding officer, or does it constitute a ruling by the impeachment court? If the response is, it is the latter, does this mean that this court, through the presiding officer, has raised the level of discourse to a justiciable issue or a dispute that the Supreme Court may have legal authority to settle and resolve, in case either one or both panels in front of us decide to exercise their right to challenge the said ruling, should they deem it as a grave abuse of discretion by this court? I submit, Your Honor.
The response of the presiding officer is in the affirmative. In fact, the journal that we just approved contains a similar inquiry by Senator Judge Cayetano yesterday when he inquired if it was the position and ruling of the presiding officer, and the presiding officer answered in the affirmative. So to clarify, yes, I believe it may be considered already as a justiciable controversy, although it is not for us to dictate that but the courts, given that it is a ruling of the chair not objected to nor appealed by any member of this court, and therefore stands.
Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Senator Judge Lacson. Senator Judge Cayetano, what is your pleasure, sir?
Sir President, Presiding Officer, may I just further clarify this statement?
You may proceed, sir.
Yes. I confirm that yesterday we heard the same thing, and when the transcripts come out, of course, then it will be available to everyone. Basically, yesterday I clarified whether that was the opinion of the elected presiding officer, and of course, without any offense to my brother and friend, Senator Escudero, we have a continuing objection. I asked him whether this was already a ruling of the court, because if it's the ruling of the court, then as a threshold issue, we will have no further questions. Section 22, Article 22 of our rule says that all orders, decisions may be acted upon without objection, or if objection is heard, the orders and decisions shall be voted on without debate by ayes and nays, which shall be entered in the record, subject, however, to operation of Rule 6, and Rule 6 speaks of whether the presiding officer will rule on relevance, admissibility, and giving any movant 2 minutes. So I may also correct that yesterday I was not allowed to, when I objected to Senator Lacson, I should have been given 10 minutes in accordance with Section 22. But I do admit that before that, in the point of order, Senate President Gatchalian was liberal in allowing us to explain. Anyway, everything has been explained yesterday as the constitutional issue of the presiding.